Hello and welcome to our webinar session. Today we begin with a little bit of housekeeping. First, our event today will run just 60 minutes. We ask that you hold your questions till the end. I'll let you know when we've reached the Q&A portion of the event, and you may use the chat box in your bottom right-hand corner to answer any questions, and I'll be facilitating them to our panel during that time. In our event today, Digital Success for the Security Industry, we'll be focusing on how to truly enable your sales team to be mobile, giving them the opportunity to effortlessly quote and use e-signatures for a 100% digital sales process. In our session, you're going to learn how to secure your contract asset value using e-signature, mobilize your sales process using Quote Anywhere, send e-signature invites using WeEstimate, generate and manage documents, trigger completion of approval of your sale. I'd like to take just a moment and introduce today's speakers. From eOriginal, we have John Jacobs, Director of Sales. And from WeEstimate, we have Samantha Perry, Sales Specialist. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to our first presenter, John Jacobs.
Hi, thank you very much, Allison. Next slide, please. All right, so as we're waiting for the slide to move in front of us, the first thing that we'll discuss is the benefits. Why are we taking our process electronic, and what are typically the causes of taking the process electronic within the security alarm industry? There we go, perfect. So why are we doing this? There's a multitude of reasons. There's really ROI across the board. When you look at it, there are process and resource benefits. And so really at a high level, what are the process and resource benefits? First and foremost, when you do things electronically, you're able to really tie into the data, the elements that are being collected, ensuring that if there is data that's required, it's there, right? There is nothing missing. So most importantly, from the very beginning, you're limiting and in many cases completely removing errors and omissions from the process. So when a contract or when an order or when a quote gets back to your office, it's complete. It is not what we would consider not in good order documents. The data is there, the signature is there, there is nothing missing. It reduces the number of times that one has to recontract with the customer or update the system or equipment descriptions that are included within the contract. So from the very beginning, you're ensuring that when it's done right the first time, and you're not redundantly entering information and changing things over and over and over again. Also, from a pure customer perspective, as you see some of the bullet points you have up here, but limiting the chances of a customer's right to rescind. You're creating a better user experience for the customer. So from the very beginning, they're happier with you. You're providing them with a process that is consistent with the product offering that you'll be providing them, right? High-tech security alarm systems. You're providing them a high-tech process to start. This gives the customer a better impression of your business and your ability to adapt to technology. So across the board, we've seen a drop in a customer's right, there's chances of a right to rescind because from the very beginning they're starting off with a better user experience. No more waiting for the sales reps. Often we see today, especially if you have sales reps out in the field, right? You have to wait for them to bring the contract back. You don't have to wait for that. When the customer signs the contract, it's in your hands immediately. Your office manager, your techs have it. Everybody can start their job immediately. So you're not reliant on the sales rep or the tech in the field to bring information or documents back to the office. You can really onboard the customer a lot faster. And really in line with that, some of the other benefits that are part of the process are the security benefits. The sales rep is no longer, driving around town at all hours of the day with the customer's personal private information sitting on their laptop or sitting in the seat of their car on paper. The minute that information is entered into the system, it's in a secure area. It's not on the sales rep or the tech's local device, right? So from the very second that this information is given from the consumer, from your customer, it's protected and it's in a secure environment. So there's no chance, and you reduce the chance of any fraudulent activities happening with the customer's data. Again, it goes back to that better user experience. So across the board, we see 70–80% savings going from the paper process to the electronic process when it's done efficiently. Next slide, please. So legality, we often hear it. We hear it every day. Is this legally enforceable? Can I sign documents electronically? What happens if I need to go to court? Well, signing documents electronically is in fact legally admissible. There are laws that are in place to support your ability to electronically sign documents, both on the state level and the federal level. On the state level, you have the Uniform Electronic Transactions Act. And on the federal level, you have the Electronic Signatures in Global and National Commerce Act. Combined, at a high level, what do these laws enable you to do? Well, first and foremost, they enable you and they mandate that a contract cannot be denied legal effect solely because it was signed electronically. Meaning that they enable you to apply electronic signatures to the document without the fear that it will not be legally admissible when you take it into the court of law. Now, there are two pieces of this. You have legal admissibility, which the laws enable us to do with comfort that you can take that electronically signed document into the court of law. But on the opposite end of that, you have legal enforceability. Just like in the paper world, if you do have to litigate, if you do have to go to court, if you have to prove that it was the customer who signed the document and they agreed to the terms, you have to bring evidence with you. Now, from an enforceability perspective, the benefits in doing this electronically are tremendous because in the paper world where you have to pay your inside counsel or your outside counsel to put together all the information and build the evidence and take it into court, all of this evidence is logged into a secure system. Everything that has happened to the document, the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, it's all readily available in one package. The eOriginal calls this package the certified print package that you could take into the court to not only enable you with legal admissibility, but to ensure legal enforceability. So you can take everything that you need to go into the court of law with the comfort that the judge will be able to make an appropriate decision based on the evidence that you are providing them. Outside of the typical e-signature laws, there is a portion of the security market that leverages the value of its account base to either sell, maybe you might be a part of a dealer network. Maybe one day you might want to be acquired in general. You want to sell all of your accounts and move to Tahiti and retire there, right? So there's another process that really talks about how do you create original documents just like you were creating original paper documents in the paper world. We'll talk a little more about that, but if you have a line of credit with a bank, if you do plan to sell contracts or accounts to other organizations, there are other laws that those parties you'll be working with need to consider, and I'll touch on that at a high level as we move forward. Next slide, please. So what is the e-signature process in general? It is just that. It's a process. It's not one static item. It's not one thing that's happening. More so today, we'll often hear the term used, digital transaction management, and that is what this world is about, and that's really what Samantha and I will be talking about as we move forward later in this presentation. on the demonstration and the WeSuite or the WeEstimate product, because it's about streamlining the processes. You can sign documents electronically and still have a ton of work to do after that contract has been signed or before that contract has been signed. So it's about integrating it into your current process to create the most streamlined and efficient solution. The amount of times that you can limit a human being touching the document or entering in data, the more successful you will be. So that is where we're going with this, and that's where we'll go. But just to touch on the e-signature service in general, if you see to the far left side of this slide, what is the e-signature service, and what part of the process does that take care of for you? At some point, you've taken data, for instance, in WeEstimate, you've taken data, and you'll take that customer-specific data and you'll enter it into a document. And that's what we call an executable document, something that has the customer-specific data that they're ready to electronically sign. And whether it's in front of the customer on a tablet, or if your customer's remotely and you can send them an email invitation to access the contract remotely, what the e-signature service does is it allows the customer to interact with that document electronically. So the first part of it is presentment. It presents the electronic contract with their specific data to them, whether it be on the tablet or remotely, and enables them to adopt what their electronic signature will look like and apply it to the document electronically without ever having to print the document out at any point. Post-closing, what happens after the document is electronically signed? Most of the folks on the phone here, you refer to the value of your business by using your monthly reoccurring revenue, or your RMR. And your RMR is attached to each one of those unique customer contracts or monitoring agreements that are being signed. So the importance of ensuring that when you take the process electronic, that there is still a unique contract, just like there was in the paper world, is very critical. And if you think about this, to give you an example, in the paper world, if you sign your monitoring agreement with a wedding signature, even if you were to make 1,000 copies of it, at the end of the day, you could reasonably distinguish the difference between the copies and the original. So when you say your RMR is X, it's directly related to that original contract that you're likely putting in a safe environment, whether it be a safe or a secure file cabinet. It's somewhere safe and you know where it is. In the electronic world, if you think electronic data, documents, pictures, it's all replicable, right? You can easily make copies of it. And at the end of the day, you can end up with 1,000 versions of your electronic monitoring agreement. The question becomes, which is the original that my customer signed and where is it? This is especially critical if you plan to sell those accounts or contracts to other parties, or if you have a banker that is supporting your business and might have an interest in those documents and monitoring agreements that you're signing. We call this, in the electronic world, we call this concept of an original document an authoritative copy. So what happens when the electronic signature is applied to the document? You want to make sure that there is something unique and original that exists, just like it existed in the paper world, and you want to ensure that it is managed appropriately. So just in the general vaulting services, the encryption, the tamper sealing, making sure that information within that document cannot be changed or modified without detection, right? You don't want anybody to be able to break into that document and change the customer's information or change their RMR. So being able to protect it ongoing, all the way to the transferable record services, as I mentioned, in those events where you want to sell your accounts to someone, or if you have a banker that is supporting your growth or your capital needs, you want to ensure that that monitoring agreement is managed so that you don't have any risk, but also those parties that you're working with don't have any risk in the fact that there might not be an original document or an original contract that is being securely managed. All through this process, back to one of my value points earlier, is the protection of the data, ensuring that your customer data is in a secure and protected environment, and the only people that have access to it are those people that you explicitly give permission to. Again, we'll touch on the full and complete process once Samantha gets into this, but it is about streamlining processes, not just the e-signature piece, but how do you start it efficiently and how do you end it efficiently. Next slide, please. Often today, in the security alarm industry specifically, we're asked, what is an electronic signature? We've talked about adding electronic signatures to documents at a high level, but what is that? What does that mean, and what is the process that we have to go through to do that? So, in general, the best practices in that electronic signature process are this: authentication. Just like in the paper world, you have a sales rep that's meeting with the customer face-to-face, and they might look at their driver's license, or they might run a credit report. Or if you're doing it remotely, you might have a notary that is authenticating your customer, right? What are you doing to create reasonable assurance that will show that you have an evidence trail that this person was in fact who they said they were? So properly authenticating the customer electronically is important, and we'll talk about those options shortly. Consent. I mentioned the laws earlier, the UEDA and the eSign Act. It is required as part of those laws that your customer or a consumer provide their consent to sign a document electronically. So in general, what does that mean, this e-sign consent? It means that they understand, they know they're moving forward in the electronic process. They know that you are enabling them with the technology to do that and understand how they are doing that. Having this as part of your evidence is critical, because without evidence showing that the customer actually consented to do business with you electronically, you don't have much of an enforceable contract. So consent is very important. Opt out. We always we talk about this often. We don't want our customers to lead the process. We want to do it electronically. We want to give them a better experience, and we want to have a better experience for our business, right? But you have to give them the ability to opt out. All of these processes I'll mention are in the solution that you choose, right? So you want to make sure that the path that you take electronically includes these different options. So the ability to opt out simply means that if someone has consented to move forward electronically, you can't require that they sign a document electronically. So all the way up into the point to where they've actually applied their signature to the document, you need to give them an easy way out. The ability to leave the process and say, never mind, I just want to do this in paper. So there has to be an easy way of them doing that. Signature with intent. I talked again about the laws earlier. The definition of an electronic signature legally is an electronic sound, symbol, or process that is attached to or logically associated with a record and adopted by someone who's intended to sign it. So the intent is a very important thing. It shows that someone does want to take this signature that they've adopted and they want to apply it to the document. So being able to show that not only did they provide you their electronic signature, they did it with the intent to add it to the document that you've presented in front of them. At this moment, and let me talk about what an electronic signature is, right? I mentioned it's a sound, symbol, or process. It can be text type, right? You typing your name into a computer. This is very often seen today, a very common practice. But you also have drawing your finger. I think in the mobile world, outside sales teams and field sales teams, you'll see this used most often. Is where you enable the customer to sign with their finger on a tablet or a mobile device. But an electronic signature, again, it can be many things. So moving on, copy and access distribution. Just as in the paper world, you might have three-part paper agreements. You have to give the customer a copy of the contract that they've signed, something that they can retain for their records. That doesn't change electronically. You still need to ensure that they have not just a copy of the electronically signed document for their records, but a copy of their notice of cancellation or their ability to rescind from the process. So you need to be able to distribute that electronically upon their completion of the document. Tamper sealings, I mentioned this just a few minutes ago, but this is just as important. Often we hear the term electronic signature, and as I said, we all have questions. What is an electronic signature? Well, an electronic signature is the image that you see. It's what I have adopted to be my image that's attached to your monitoring agreement. Now, a tamper seal and a digital signature is a little different, but this should also be used as part of the process. A digital signature is a signature that should happen behind the scenes, right? And this is used to essentially lock down the document to ensure that the information and the content within that document cannot be altered or modified without detection. and also used to encrypt the document and the information within it. That way, the information is not readily available for just anyone. It's in a protected environment and only accessible to those who have the permissions to review it. E-asset management, we talked about that just lightly, but e-asset management, again, is the creation of that unique electronic contract, that authoritative copy, and the management of that authoritative copy such that when you get to the point where you might need to sell an account or sell a contract to someone, or if you might have a line of credit with a bank that is supporting your capital needs, that contract is managed appropriately, not just for your party, but for their interests as well. Reviewing is really a requirement through the process, enabling the customer to take these actions upon themselves to review the agreement at their discretion, not forcing them through the process, but having the ability to stop and review all the information along the way. Next slide, please. Authentication, I'll go through this very quickly because I want to get it over to Sam here just in a minute. But authentication is important. As I mentioned, it's how do you create reasonable assurance that whoever signed that contract electronically is who they say they are? Well, there are a couple of ways to do this. Obviously, if you're face-to-face with the customer and you're executing these processes on a mobile device or on a tablet, getting the customer's license and documenting their personal identification that they may have available for you face-to-face is certainly one way to begin the authentication process. But what are some of the other things that we do? If the customer is not in front of your face, if they're remotely, say they're in another state, how do you authenticate them? Well, you start off with what we call frontline authentication. Sending invitations to their email, right? In order to access the invitation, they've had to have logged into their email. Now, we know that's not enough because often emails can be compromised. So what else do? We capture the IP address, the location in which the customer is accessing the electronic contract or the electronic signature portal, right? So we have their physical location or the IP address that they've accessed it from, as well as their personal or business email address. In addition to that, we typically add a security code. So those three elements of the process, a unique security code that they need in order to access the document, their IP address, and the fact that they've had to log into their email account, those three alone are very good pieces of information to contribute to the evidentiary process and ensuring that whoever signed this document is who you intended to sign it. There are alternative methods or additional methods that can be deployed. ID verification. I won't talk much about this. It's used more often in financial services, but it's there as an option. You can put the customers through Q&A exams to authenticate them before they have access to the document. More often than not, we call this a multi-factor process, meaning that the customer has had to have access to multiple things in order to authenticate themselves. So more often than not in the security industry, we might see SMS text messaging used, and this just means that you've sent a unique security code via SMS text message to the customer's mobile device. So not only did they need to log into their email account and be at the IP address that they were at, they had to also have access to their mobile phone to retrieve that security code. This limits the potential of it being someone else who has accessed that contract in the remote situations. Back to face-to-face, what are some of the things that we can do in addition to getting their driver's license number or other personal information? We can add verification methods, right? We call this biometric verification. You can capture pictures of them on the mobile device that you're using, or record voice samples of them using the microphone on the tablet or the mobile device. We can save this information with the customer's file or with their transaction and in this secured environment. That way it will always be associated with that customer's contract. If they said that they didn't sign it, pull up the picture that you took of them when they electronically signed the document. Next slide, please. Now, in the beginning, I talked just briefly on the benefits of moving to the electronic signature process. I think what I'd like to do now is I'd like to bring Samantha into the discussion, because what this is really about is what I mentioned earlier, digital transaction management. And what eOriginal and WeSuite have done is we've worked together to integrate our solutions to ensure that what you have from the beginning, from that very point where you start to collect the customer's data, to the end, to that very point when you have an executed contract or maybe you need to sell it to someone else, that you've had a streamlined, user-friendly, and efficient process during all key pieces of that business workflow. And this is what the WeSuite and eOriginal integration is about providing those benefits in streamlining the process, reducing the human error as a part of that process, and reducing the amount of touches that humans need to make within that business workflow. So at this point, I'd like to pass it off to Samantha.
Hi, John. Thanks a lot. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Samantha Perry, and I'm with WeSuite. Again, just to kind of flow into John's piece, WeSuite is really based off of managing your entire sales process from the initial point of contact with a customer straight through the generation and preparation of a contract, from which we have developed a partnership with eOriginal so that you can sign and store that contract after the sale has been closed. So our first product that I'd like to discuss with you is WeOpportunity. WeOpportunity is our front-end sales, and for all of the customer management and that initial gathering of information from doing prospecting activities and recording those activities straight through managing your quotes, recording leads, passing leads throughout your sales force, and really being able to manage those leads, turn them into qualified opportunities, and then get them into a quoting stage. From there, that's fully integrated with our WeEstimate software, and that is where you're going to begin quoting. WeEstimate is our very powerful quoting software. It has over 10 add-on modules in extension that have all been really tweaked and specialized for the security industry. For those of you who are not familiar with WeSuite, WeSuite was developed from a previous integrator, and upon creating WeSuite, they really kind of discovered that there was a gap in which giving people in this industry the ability to quote and design sales, whether they be complex integrated sales or the small resi type commercial sales, and being able to all put that under one umbrella. So as you can see, you can do a number of things such as quoting your RMR services, any fixed price contracts if anyone has a GSA schedule or a specific contract pricing with a certain client, finance, lease, test and inspect, subcontractors, all of these different modules, whether it's something that you use in your business or not, can help you really fine-tune your quoting and really make that workflow easy, and again, all under one umbrella. Today, I'd also like to focus on our Quote Anywhere module, which is our remote quote, sign, and sell. So just to kind of go a little deeper into Quote Anywhere is just that. You can quote anywhere you need to. It's completely mobile. You can be on any type of internet-connected device, and many clients who are currently using Quote Anywhere are able to be customer-facing and quoting a system directly to a customer, and then, of course, signing right in front of the customer. Everything completely paperless, and all of your documents completely integrated. Again, to kind of make sure that we're meeting that high volume, quote, sign, sell, and keep it moving. So again, to just kind of stick with the one umbrella, you can see that what WeSuite really helps you do is that by doing the front end and collecting all of that sales information, eliminating the need to re-enter information, any human error, or retype any information, and then again, it hits those points of doing anything from those complex integrated sales for WeEstimate to the smaller resi commercial sales, which is where Quote Anywhere is very beneficial, all with sales, all integrated with the reporting capabilities from beginning to end, all in real time, and then which I really won't focus on today, but in addition to eOriginal, a number of other business services that we integrate with to really, again, give you that one streamlined home base to go to for all of your sales. And then, of course, we have worked a lot on being able to manage and generate proposal and contract documents that are very specific to your company. We know that it's important to keep company branding consistent, making sure that sales teams aren't constantly copying and pasting, retyping information, to keep everything streamlined, to make sure that every revision you've ever sent is stored and it's kept and it's managed. And then on top of that, being able to design templates for yourself, which, I'll be able to demonstrate, later. But and then, of course, to send for signatures so that whether you're in front of a customer or you're sitting in the office and you're sending a maybe larger bid of some type, that you will be able to send out an invitation and know for sure that the signatures that you're going to be getting on those documents are 100% authentic. So just to kind of make sure that the workflow is detailed, is that we have, again, our lead management, and that would be WeOpportunity, which fully integrates with our quoting. That would be, again, WeEstimate or Quote Anywhere, depending on the type of sales that you're selling, straight into the signing process and the different documents that you could sign. We have a business forms module, which I won't go into too much detail of, but that is a form that you're filling out during the sales process, whether a customer or internal, maybe a form that sales gives to operations, but that can be 100% electronic and signed. And then, of course, proposals, contract documents. And then this is where the eOriginal services come into play. Again, eOriginal and WeSuite have integrated in such a way so that they can take those documents that you create via WeSuite and instantly generate them into the eOriginal service, of which all of that security and asset management is managed. And then for those of you who will be also using the WeSuite services, this can trigger next steps, such as anyone who's using an accounting integration or to trigger the one status of a job, which we can go into. So I'd like now to just hop into a quick demonstration. So if you all can just focus on your screen here to our WeOpportunity dashboard. Again, WeOpportunity is for your lead tracking and management. If you look on the left-hand side here, you can see that there are a number of different options that you can use. We have our prospecting module to build prospecting plans so that salespeople can actively meet their goals and then, of course, meet those quotas that I'm sure everyone is using, and then being able to manage those leads and really manage the customer relationship so that as information is recorded, whether it be from answering the phone from customer service or a lead that's generated via a marketing tool, that all the information is used and entered once. But today what I'd like to demonstrate for you is our Quote Anywhere services. As you can see here on my dashboard, I have my appointments section here. An appointment is just that, an appointment I've set up from a lead that I can easily go when I go to the customer's job site and begin quoting. So today I have an appointment for 2 o'clock to go see Ray at ABC Electric, and I'll go ahead and click on that appointment. And then and it will bring me straight into my job screen. All I need to do is select a billing address, and you'll see here that I have my customer and all the information that had been entered either by myself or someone else in the office for me to go and sell this job. I'm going to go ahead and click Next here. You will see that there are various buttons for Next, and this is to accommodate those of you using an iPad. We want to make sure that whether you're using an iPad or any other type of tablet, that you're able to easily scroll through the entire service. So again, I'm just going to come down now to the second part of my steps here and select a package. Again, these packages are completely made by your company and are standardized to be all of your parts and pricing. So I'm just going to go ahead here and select this basic security package and create proposal. So on the screen that you're seeing now, you'll see my package, my basic security system. And everything with a green check mark is included in my package for that price of $149.95. I also have my optional parts, which, while I'm on site, I, often sell with this package. So it gives you the option to have those parts there and add to the package. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to say that this customer would also like a CO2 monitoring system. I'm going to go ahead and add a quantity there. There's also a couple extra features here. You can click the Advanced button and discount if you'd like. Anywhere that discounts are, they're all kind of hidden with Advanced and gears, such as you'll see here on the left. That way, when you're customer facing and they have the tablet in front of them, it's not, it keeps it simplified. Again, so now we're going to see that my basic package here, my additional parts have come in at $273.26. Again, they're going to come in at that unit price. Also, another good feature, I could go ahead and add a location here if I want to install in kitchen, which may be useful for some of you. But let's say that the customer is happy with this, and this is all that they'd like for their package. But now that I've added the CO2 monitoring, I need to make sure to go to my Services tab and add that in as well. So you could see included with this package is 3 years of the burglar monitoring here. And I also want to add 3 years of the carbon monoxide. All I need to do is just simply add the time frame there. As you can see, it was an option, and now it is a part of my sale. Last, I'll go to my General tab to just make sure everything looks good here. We have added a feature here that's nice. I'll go ahead and demonstrate it quickly, but for many of you who have done door-to-door sales before, there, is you don't want to leave without selling the job, of course, but you want to make the customer happy. So something that's nice is, let's say in the case the customer said, I really only budgeted $400 for this package. I can say, all right, sure, no problem. I can bring that price down to $400. I will just have to adjust your monthly. I'll go ahead and hit Save here. And what's happening behind the scenes is that we've set a calculation that for every $20 I go down in outright sale, $1 will go up in RMR. Again, that's completely controlled by your company. If this is a feature that you'd like to use, you can have that set up. But now we're all ready to go. I'll just go straight to my Documents tab. And what you'll see is that I've been following these tabs here so that you manage a very simple workflow so that by just a few clicks you can go ahead and sell this package and keep it moving. So I'm going to go straight to contracts. I could generate a quote and leave the quote with the customer if I'd like an email to them, but what we'd really like to do, of course, is sign the sale. So I'm going to go straight to contracts. I'm going to see the documents that are associated with this contract. I can view them if I'd like. I can add some options here if I want to put in some other services, but I'm just going to go ahead and go straight into signing. So the customer will click on the subscriber button, and this is where the eOriginal process will begin. The customer will be presented with their name, and just to confirm that they are who they are, and I'll go ahead and click that and say, yes, I'd like to begin to sign. The customer will then be presented with the documents that have been generated via WeSuite. You can see that information that was in the sale is now in these documents, and that saves a lot of time. Also, on the eOriginal side, you can see here's the options here. They can withdraw, they can save and exit, come back later, but they're given all these options. I'm going to go ahead and click Start, and what's really nice is that for any of you who have maybe one or multiple places for someone to sign, no signing fields are ever left out by simply selecting Next. They'll know to be prompted to sign where they need to sign without having to go back because something was forgotten. So I'll go ahead and I'll click Apply Signature. I'll be presented with my last document. Again, I'll have my job number and my price, and I'm okay with this, so I'll go ahead and click Next, sign my name, and now I'm done. I can go ahead and email those documents. I can download them if I'd like, but what I'm going to do now is that you'll see that these red X's showing that it's not been signed yet will change to green check marks, and now bringing it to the dealer. Now, whether the salesperson in the field is the one signing or someone back in the office is signing, you could send an invitation to a manager, or if you're a salesperson who has the ability to do so, go straight into signing as well. So I'll say that I am who I am again here, and I'll be presented with the documents the customer has just signed. I'll go ahead and click Next, and I'll now sign my documents. Again, quickly, just Start and Next, and it'll bring me exactly where I need to sign. I can review multiple pages here if there were, but I'm just going to go ahead and apply my signature here. And that's how simple it is to quote, sell, and sign a job out in the field. You'll see that this status is now triggered to 1. Any of you familiar with WeEstimate will now see that that will go into an approval status if you're using approvals, but if not, it's just ready to go straight into accounting, and operations can go ahead and use that. I'd like to just quickly also show what that would look like in WeEstimate. So I have a prefabricated job here in WeEstimate as well. It looks like that I actually need to log back in, so I'm very sorry. Hold on for just one moment. This will be quick. All right, sorry about the delay. So what you're seeing in front of your screen now is WeEstimate. WeEstimate, again, is for our complex quotes, but what you'll see now is if I refresh my dashboard here, I'm going to see that that job that I just quoted in WeEstimate, and it's won, indicated with this red $sign, and it's ready to go into importing. So you can see how quick that is and how everything is stored. I'm just going to open up this job that I've built for myself here. Again, for anyone interested in how to build a more complex sale, please contact us. But essentially, what you're going to be able to do is have the ability to have your entire database in front of you, not so much that kind of prefabricated package or kit. And what you'll see here in the center is folders, so I could break out, I could quote to multiple systems, multiple buildings, or even just one. And then on the left here, I can search for any of my parts. I can use those packages again if I would like, all of my RMR services, my charge item services. So let's go ahead and add some charge items. So I want to make sure on this job I have a little wiggle room there, so I'm going to add some equipment costs there. So what you'll see here is at the bottom your bill of materials is growing. So in my access control, I have my parts here, and in my CCTV system, I also have my parts here. You'll see at the top a number of different toolbars also, so I can check my labor. I don't have any subcontractors or contractors on this job. I have my chargeable item services. I can see my cost and sell for this job as well as the gross profit margin. For somebody who has the rights to, I can go ahead and change any number of these. I can also, if I do not have the user rights to do so, I will be unable to change anything. I can't go below a certain gross profit. I can't sell certain equipment without the approval. You have a lot of flexibility here. but what I'll do is I'll just go straight into the document signing. Again, you'll see your proposal process here, straight from estimate to documents, notes, and forms, which of you can see at a later time. But I'm going to go straight to my document screen, and I'm going to select a quote package that I've created. And what you'll see here on the left is that with the proposal document and contract documents that I've set up, just by clicking a series of checkboxes, I can decide how I'd like to display this document. So I have my pages. I can display equipment in any number of ways. I can sort the order of sorting. It looks like I just got, okay, sorry about that. All right. Charge items, things like that, just by clicking some checkboxes. And I just want to show very quickly what that looks like. So I do know that I need a scope of work. I'm going to go ahead and select a template here of a scope of work. I could also free type in here if I'd like. I can change templates, and I'll update that to my document. I'll select a cover letter as well. You can have any number of templates that are all specific to your company and to your user. I'll update that document. And then by simply clicking on Generate Quote, I'm presented with a quote document, which I'll make a little smaller for you guys. And that quote document will have all the information that I've added to this sale. It has my customer and the proposal number. It'll keep track of all of those revisions. And if I go through the pages, I'll see my cover page with the cover letter I've selected. Some other pages, if you have maybe a larger bid and you're really trying to send out the professional proposal document, here's my scope of work, as well as all the other information that was collected from the very beginning of the sales process. If your customer service person entered in their site information and the contact information, the salesperson will never have to enter that information. It'll flow seamlessly into WeEstimate. Quickly, I'll show the bill of materials here. You'll see that I don't have line item pricing. I just have lump sum with the quantity of all my parts. To show you just how simple that can be, if I have a customer who does want to see this detailed out, they say, I want to see each system and the unit cell and all my full line items. By clicking 3 checkboxes, I'll regenerate that quote. I'll go quickly to my products page. And you can see now the description of all my parts, the unit price of each, and the price for each of the systems that I'm selling by just clicking a few checkboxes. So now, of course, let's get that into the signing room so that the customer can go ahead and we can get started on this job. I'm going to go to my Contracts tab, and I'm going to drag over the contracts that need to be signed. And I'll just go ahead and click this button on the left and send for electronic signature. I'll select the documents I'd like to send. I want to send to the customer, and I'll click Continue. Now the same process is happening that you saw in Quote Anywhere. Those documents are being generated, but instead of quoting live in front of the customer, they're going to receive an email in their inbox so that they can review the documents and sign them, authenticate who they are, and then I, as the business owner, will immediately receive those signed documents without having them faxed or scanned or mailed back to me. I would like to show that email, so it will pop up in a second here. Just let it go through the World Wide Web. And my invitation is successful. Great. So now what you'll see, which is nice, is that I have this job and I have the quote package that's been quoted for it. I'll go ahead and refresh that. Oh, not my customers. Sorry about that. And now I see that it's in a negotiation stage, showing that I have sent the documents to the customer. And this is the exact document that I had sent. The date was sent and the amount that it was for. I've also just received my invite, and I'll just slide that on over to you guys so you can take a look. So here's the invite that your customer will receive. Again, all customized by you in eOriginal. And I can go ahead and click on this link to sign my documents. Here again is where John was describing being able to authenticate who you are and to make sure that is a legal signature. So I'm typing in my information here. I'm going to say that I am who I am. I can decline to sign if I'd like to, but I'm going to go ahead and begin. In the same process, I'm sitting at the comfort of my own home, and I'm ready to go ahead and sign these documents. I'll apply my signature. I'll go to my second document. Here's the job that we've quoted. I'll go ahead and I'll apply my signature there as well, and I'm done. I will then, as the business owner, receive an email saying that those documents have been completed, they've been signed, and they're ready to go. So that concludes my demonstration of the WeSuite services. Again, you know, what WeSuite and eOriginal are doing together is really trying to help you manage your sales process, manage your workflow, and really make everything as simplified and easy as possible so that you can do those mobile quotes as well as quote straight from the desktop and spend more time selling rather than doing all of that manual work. So I'm going to go ahead and just change to this last slide here, and thanks a lot, everybody. I'm going to just pass this on to Allison.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Sam, for a great session today. As I promised all of our attendees, we are going to move to a brief question and answer period. So if you do have questions, please use the chat box, and I will be facilitating the questions to our panelists. We do have two coming in right now, and I will direct this towards John Jacobs. The first question is, what if we need to take a customer to court over a contract?
Thank you, Allison. This is earlier I had mentioned a particular package that eOriginal can produce as part of the process, and this package is called the Certified Print Package. And this Certified Print Package, what it does is it produces a copy of the agreement that was signed by the customer, along with a copy of the complete evidentiary package, right? Everything that has happened to that document from the beginning all the way to the point that you've requested it. So that will include how the customer was authenticated, when they gave their consent to sign the document electronically, when they applied their signature, and who has had access to the document since that period in time. So it will come with all the information that you would need to, as I mentioned, create not just a legally admissible, but legally enforceable electronic contract.
Great, thank you. Our next question seems to be related to the court question. What happens if a customer says that they did not sign a contract?
Again, that's down to the evidentiary information that is being collected. There are the methods, the authentication methods that I've gone over previously that you could utilize to ensure that you're capturing enough evidence to create reasonable assurance that they are who they say they are. So this is inclusive of the email address, the IP address, the security code that was utilized, all the way down to the verification methods that I mentioned, where you could capture a picture of the customer as they've signed the electronic document, along with a voice sampling of the customer during the e-signature process. So all of that information combined, as I mentioned, it's not one static event, it's a process. So it's all the information that you're capturing throughout that process, which will assist in enforcing that electronic contract legally and identifying and creating reasonable assurance that the customer did sign the document. They were who they said they were.
Great, thank you. So we do not have any more questions coming in at this time. I just want to thank everyone for attending our session today. And if you do have questions after the event, please direct them to John or Sam. Their contact information is up on the screen right now. Additionally, I will be emailing out the on-demand version of the webinar along with a white paper to help you better understand what it's like to have a fully mobile sales team with eSignature and WeSuite's products. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.